everyone, and welcome to today's STEM Plus X webinar. My name is Kimberly Valeni, and I will be your moderator for today. Since graduating from QUT, I've been working as a front-end developer at Deloitte Digital, where I create websites and mobile apps for big clients. I'm super excited to also be working with careerswithstem.com to bring these webinar events to life. It's my passion to inspire more young Australians, especially females, to explore careers in STEM. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the Turrbal and Yagara people as the First Nations owners of the lands where QUT now stands, and all of the lands we are joining from today. I acknowledge our First Nations people as the original STEM innovators and traditional owners of Australia, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. If you're joining us live, welcome. Please get your questions ready and tell us where you're joining us from in the chat. It might be which school you're from, which part of the country you're in at the moment, or I'd love to know the First Nations owners of the lands where you're joining us from if you know it. Today, we have an awesome lineup of impressive people who are using technology to support their work. The panelists are standing by to share their career paths and answer your questions. And if you're watching this from the Careers with STEM YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in and don't forget to subscribe. If you don't already know, Careers with STEM is a one-stop inspiration hub for high school students about careers in STEM, which are growing twice as fast as non-STEM jobs and are found in every sector. In today's webinar, we're celebrating all things tech careers, including the launch of the latest Careers with STEM magazine, the Technology issue. This issue was launched at the beginning of Term 4, and we've sent a free copy to every Australian and New Zealand secondary school. You can find a free digital copy online at careerswithstem.com. So, why technology? Because everywhere around us, tech is on the cusp of new breakthroughs and is at the center of improving lives. Think about AI. Australia already has the same number of AI workers as it does school principals or architects, according to the Tech Council of Australia, which is predicting AI could create 200,000 AI-related jobs by 2030. And as Marie from Google says in the Tech magazine, technology like AI isn't just for adults. Students like you can come up with amazing ideas and learn coding, app building, and design skills right now. You're uniquely placed to invent solutions to challenges in your local school or community. All you need is a little tech know-how. All of these evolutions in tech, and many others, will require highly skilled graduates. And choosing a career in tech could be your future passport to discover new things, make change, and have real impact, just like it was for me, and just like it is for our amazing speakers today. So if you need help on where to start, you can check out the A to Z of tech careers in the magazine. From YouTuber to data scientist to occupational health specialist, you can get a great overview of how tech can apply to all different careers and industries. And if you're not ready to dive into a particular career area, you can start by matching your hobbies and interests to a potential tech career in this awesome overview. You don't have to separate your work from your passion. In fact, at Careers with STEM, our secret formula is STEM plus X. This is where X is your passion, an interest, another subject, a big opportunity, or a life-changing goal. It's just like mathematics, where X is the unknown variable that we're trying to figure out. So think about tech plus agriculture equals smarter farming, or science plus business equals new space rockets, or engineering plus health could equal new medicines, and maths plus shopping equals happier customers and less retail waste. Take myself as an example. My personal STEM plus X formula is technology plus design, which is the backbone of why I studied my double degree of computer science and interaction design at QUT. STEM plus X can lead you to some surprising careers today and into the future. Here's a few amazing people who have combined their passions with a career in tech, like Liv, who is bringing new maps technology to electric vehicles at Google. Or James, who supports himself as a software developer whilst traveling as a professional snowboarder, or Alyssa, who is creating a new career for herself in next gen fashion tech. And you may even recognize our very own speaker, Rebecca Jeffries, who made a career change to take her passion for music and art into video game animation. Today's webinar is brought to you thanks to our sponsor, the Queensland University of Technology. Also known as QUT, it's a university that I can definitely vouch for because that's where I studied. I graduated in 2021 with a double degree in information technology and creative industries. QUT offers bachelor degrees in information technology and games and interactive environments, with plenty of double degree options for each. So, what makes QUT's degrees different? In these degrees, students work with their peers to solve a real world problem for an industry client, which means all students have real industry experience before even graduating. QUT is also one of only 5 universities nationally that offer the Westpac Young Technologist Scholarship. I'm sure we'll hear more about this from Joshua Ho later in today's session. And one thing I think is really cool about QUT's pathway options. So if you're concerned that you won't meet the ATAR or selection rank, you can complete a diploma in entrepreneurship, a diploma in esports, or a diploma in information technology for guaranteed entry to the IT or games degree. In today's webinar, you'll meet 3 amazing STEM professionals who are carving out super interesting careers that combine technology with business, game art, software development, and entrepreneurship. You'll meet Joshua Ho, who is a double degree student at QUT, a tech entrepreneur and scholarship recipient. We also have Rebecca Jeffries, who combined her passion for tech with the gaming industry. And lastly, we'll talk to Hassan Nadeem, who uses IT to improve large, complex business problems. Once you've heard from our panelists today, you might be inspired to find out more about combining technology at QUT with your ex for an amazing career. If so, head to qut.edu.au/information technology. All right, on to our first panelist. Joshua is a university student and business owner who founded Ascensi, which is the developer and seller of Point Dash, a house points management system for schools aimed at fostering healthy competition and building house culture. He has been recognized as a Dean Scholar and awarded the Westpac Young Technologist Scholarship. Welcome to the webinar, Josh. You've achieved so much in such a short amount of time, including taking on a double degree in tech, scoring an amazing scholarship, and founding a tech startup. Could you tell us a little bit more about your career journey to date and what attracted you to tech in the first place?
Yeah, thanks, Kimberly. Um, I guess for tech, in general, it was pretty much as soon as I first touched a computer. Probably the first one was like a IBM ThinkPad T43, so quite an old machine, but still works today. But yeah, pretty much ever since I first used the computer, it piqued my interest from there. I went into all kinds of different fields in IT, but the one that really kind of caught my attention that I was really passionate about was software development, and that's what's led me to where my career's kind of gone today. Essentially didn't start though, just with Point Dash. It's a build up of lots of different projects that I've had over the past. Um, Particularly during high school, I had a lot of kind of side projects as extracurricular. I had a e-safety platform, an online coding development platform, a food ordering software platform, as well as like a coding, learning to code kind of platform. So there was a lot of different projects that kind of further reinforced my passion for IT, as well as just gave me that experience. And even now, when I look back at like Point Dash and things now today, where it's at, and still very early stages, it's incredible just to see all that progress and little hints of code and things like that from past projects. But yeah, it's pretty much as soon as I first came across IT, never really looked back. Yeah, and now it's provided me so many opportunities. With my tech career and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always been so impressed because you and I go back a little bit, Josh, but I've always been so impressed at how you manage to juggle all of the innovations that go into a Sensi while studying. What's it like for you studying a double degree? What does your semester look like? What does your workload involve?
Yeah, busy for a start, but really enjoy it. For example, this semester I did a unit on microcontrollers and actually programming the actual comp each of the components on that controller using a language called C, if anyone's heard of that. Um, but yeah, so that was a really fun one, being able to actually get that hardware element alongside just the actual software component. So for me, doing a double degree in IT and computer science with engineering, majoring in computer software systems, it gives me kind of that greater scope of like when I write code that runs on a computer, I know what's happening for every single stage when that program's actually running. So what's actually happening at the core on the actual device that's running that program. But yeah, it's a really fun degree. I highly recommend it. Yeah, there's lots of things that I've been learning about, when it comes to even things like cybersecurity and stuff as well, which ultimately really helps going back into when you start running a software startup as well, especially these days.
Yeah, awesome. Now, we mentioned before that you are a Westpac Young Tech Scholars Scholarship recipient. Can you share with us the impact that your scholarship has had on you and your advice around how to get a scholarship and applying around for them?
Yeah, yeah. My main advice I always give when this kind of question comes along is apply for scholarships, even if you think you just make it, because it can make such a difference for your university journey. Without the Westpac scholarship, I wouldn't have met a lot of great friends that I have now, a lot of like-minded people, particularly in the tech sector, that I can, geek out about the latest, tech innovation, things like that, as well as just opportunities to actually explore the world. As part of my Westpac scholarship, I actually went to Singapore earlier, or about mid this year. So that was a really fun experience as part of the Disruptive Leaders program. And then the year before that, for my first year, they flew us all down to Sydney to meet all the scholars from around the nation. So it's a really good scholarship for networking and opportunity. Yeah, so highly recommend having a look at that and just, yeah, apply for scholarships.
Absolutely. That's the same advice I give too around scholarships. When I was in high school, I applied to every single one I could, and I just fell short of a particular one, but that didn't stop me or my motivations. I mean, look at me today. I'm hosting a webinar, which is so incredible. My last question for you, Josh, is what's next for you? Is Ascensi going to take over the world? What are your career goals, and what are you hoping to do when you finish uni?
I mean, that's the ultimate goal, taking over the world, but small steps. Yeah, definitely to further grow a Sensi. Point Dash, while it's still the whole business is very early stages at the moment, so being able to further progress that is really exciting for me. It started it back in high school, and now to see where it's gone today has been an amazing experience. So I can only imagine what it's going to look like in a couple of years' time. Yeah, as well as looking at my degree as well. There's a lot of exciting stuff that happens there, and being able to actually learn about it, and network and meet more interesting people is definitely going to be really cool. But yeah, definitely to take over the world. But yeah, and definitely make a really big impact, especially for Australia in the tech industry.
Incredible. Well, I can't wait to witness you do that little by little. Thank you for all your insights. I'd now love to invite Rebecca to join us for the webinar. So, after high school, Rebecca studied music and teaching, working as a teacher and keyboardist for community theatre. Seeking new challenges, she pursued a Bachelor of Games and Interactive Environments with a focus on animation at QUT. Combining her passion for writing with programming and art, Rebecca is now in her third year and has recently created a VR game from scratch. Wow, Rebecca, what an impressive career so far. You've had to make some pretty big decisions in your career to pursue your passion. Could you tell us a little bit more about what your early interests were, your first career, and what inspired you to make a change that combines tech with your creative passions?
Yeah, for sure. So, as a kid, I was very artistic and I just loved art in every sense. So, I'm talking drawing, I'm talking writing. I was that kid who walked around with a sketchbook and just always, drawing in it and that sort of thing. And I really put a lot of stock into that as being part of my identity. And I think as a result of that, I think society sometimes gives us this narrative that if you're arty, you can't be mathsy, or if you're arty, you can't, these things are mutually exclusive. And for a while, I sort of I just believed that about myself. And I was very heavily into music, obviously, actually. My first undergraduate degree is in music, and um, similarly to Josh, I have been using computers from a very young age, like since I was about 3 or 4 in the late 90s. So yeah, and these things, I never really considered that these things could be combined until I was a teacher and I rediscovered gaming as a teacher, which was something I was very interested in as a kid, but yeah, didn't I rediscovered it and I realized that by studying gaming I can actually combine all of the things that I love, like art, drawing, like creating characters, creating universes, creating stories. I could use a computer to combine all of those things, and that's actually game design. Like that's actually what that is. And as a result of that, as part of the degree, I discovered that I actually am a bit mathsy, and by a bit I mean a lot. So yeah, that was really exciting for me. So yes, yeah,
Yeah, and I love your point about how art and maths are not mutually exclusive. I mean, my double degree was also in a combination of technology and design. And like you, it's because I couldn't pick between one or the other. So we love that we can have a merge and a fusion of both. What's it like for someone interested in studying video games and animation and the intersection of the two? What are some cool projects you've had to work on in that space?
sure. So I mean, I think what I do is magic, actually. I think the VR thing is probably worth mentioning. The really fantastic thing about the Bachelor of Games and Interactive Environments is that the teachers and the lecturers are really invested in giving you like a huge range of different games related experiences. So the VR game came out of a unit called Design and Development of Immersive Environments. So in that unit, you create a VR game from scratch, and that's basically what I did. It was I actually didn't think I could do it. So yeah, all the programming, all of the like art, the design, the actual design of the game, which was actually to catch lightning. So in this game, you basically run around an environment and you catch lightning in the environment, and that was the idea for the game. So that was I thought that was just fantastic, and yeah, so that's what it's like. You're making magic.
Oh, such a nice way to summarize the degree and such a cool way to think about, when you love something that you study, it doesn't feel like hard work at all. What's a surprising opportunity for you that your passion for tech has provided, or perhaps something that you didn't expect?
Look, actually, I have to go back to discovering this love for programming and for maths. So, I mean, I knew, of course, that game design and development involves programming and coding, and I knew that coding and programming involved maths. So, I knew what I was signing up for. My major is in animation, but my minor after the first year, I switched my minor. Oh, actually, maybe I didn't have a minor in first year, but in second year, I made my minor software technologies, which is the programming stream in that degree. And it was because I once I started programming, I really discovered how enjoyable that was, and just kept going with it. And so I suppose it was very unexpected for me. I didn't expect to I guess conclude this degree seriously thinking I would be very happy to pick up a job as a programmer, as a games programmer, in addition to art. And so that is going to hopefully take me into maybe a job as a technical animator, which combines the two very nicely. Yeah.
Incredible. Other than a technical animator, that position you're just talking about, what's next for you? What other career goals have you got?
Yeah, so I'm genuinely I said to someone the other day, I genuinely feel as if my future is very bright. I'm looking at a few different things. So technical animator is a job title I'm interested in. Another one I'm interested in is character artist or character designer, so working for a game studio in that capacity. The other thing is actually I will actually be taking on an honors year next year in 2025. So I actually completed a short research project last Christmas holidays, and I loved it so much that I think I will do a year of research. And from there, I will be happy regardless of if I decide to enter the industry immediately after that. Or if I even decide to pursue some further research. So I think no matter what, I will be happy as long as it's in this yeah, in this industry, in this field. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, as long as you're in this magical realm, then all will be happy for you. Wishing you all the best with your honors study and anything else you might pursue
Thank you.
afterwards.
Thank you.
I'd now
Thank you
love to
so much.
invite, yeah, no worries at all. I'd now love to invite our final panelist to join us. Hassan is driven by his love for technology, and his career has taken a transformative turn while working at one of the largest financial institutions in his home country. It was there that he discovered his passion for business process management, a passion that brought him to Australia and reshaped his entire career. Hassan has since led the establishment of the Centre of Excellence for Business Process Management at the Queensland Office of Industrial Relations and now works for a very large energy company. He holds a Master's in Information Technology from QUT and is passionate about using technology as an enabler to simplify and solve complex business problems. Wow, Hassan, you sure have made an impressive career from using information technology to solve big business problems. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and what you love about it?
Absolutely, Kim. Thanks for the amazing introduction. My role as a business process analyst revolves around using technology strategically to solve complex business problems. My work involves understanding current business processes, identifying inefficiencies, and designing solutions that streamline operations and add value to the organization. This can, in other terms, also mean that I am involved in creating mobile apps, web apps, desktop apps, and maybe robots for the business as well, depending on what kind of inefficiency and the gap that we are trying to fill as well. What I love the most about my job is the blend of analytical and creative thinking it requires, especially the fact that no two projects are the same and each offers a chance to make a tangible difference in how the organization operates.
Absolutely. And like you just said, it's a fusion of innovation plus creativity, and you solve a different
100%.
problem every day.
That's
After
right.
your bachelor's degree, you actually completed a master's degree. What inspired you to do a postgraduate study, and how has it helped you?
I love sharing this story, and I hope that our audience can also benefit from this as well. After completing my bachelor's degree, which was from my home country, by the way, my bachelor's degree was a double major degree in finance and marketing. Um, I pursued a position as a financial analyst in one of the biggest financial institutes from the banking industry back in Pakistan. And when you work in a big institute, in a big organization, you sometimes come across big problems as well. And that's where I realized that there are some inefficiencies in the organizations that can be fixed as well. But I did not have the correct theory to, back my reasonings or to come up with, some terms which I can take up with the management as well. And that's when I realized that I should study these things. And I started my research. I started questioning myself, questioning people around me as well. Did some research on Google as well with these terms like how to fix business processes, business process management. And that is where I came across our lovely QUT. They were offering an amazing degree at that time. It is still being offered, like Masters of IT with majors in business process management. And I did some more research on that as well. And that's when I realized the fact that QET is one of the pioneers in the field of business process management, looking at the work that they are doing in terms of academics, in terms of theories, and how they have partners with different organizations in the industry as well. That really encouraged me to come to this beautiful land that I now call home and pursue this degree of IT. Um, Talking a little bit more about my postgraduate study, I would say that it provided me with strong foundations in business process methodologies, advanced analytical skills, and hands-on experience with tools like Signavio, which is in very much in demand in the industry these days as well. And I would say that education has been invaluable in helping me bring high impact solution to companies that I've worked for.
Absolutely. And I totally agree that, QUT really does prepare you for the real world. You mentioned that you've worked for some pretty big companies. Can you tell us about some cool things in the big business world and maybe some tips on getting a first job in a big company?
All right. That's a really good question. Working in a big organization has been a fantastic learning experience, I would say. Big businesses often have well-established processes and wealth of resources, which provide excellent platform for innovation at a large scale as well. I've worked at places like Icon Group, Standard Corporation, and Suncorp Group, and I've been very fortunate to be able to lead projects like related to automation as well, cloud transitioning, and a lot of financial analysis was involved as well. One thing that I really like about your question was how maybe we can secure a job in big organizations like this one. You yourself are working at Deloitte, which is a very proud moment for QT as well. But I think it is very important who you know rather than what you know. So networking is very important. STEM is taking this great initiative of helping us connect with people from the industry, alumni of QT as well, and wider audience as well. So I think this is very important, working on your interpersonal skills, your transferable skills, that is very important as well. And break your eyes, talk to people, question yourself, question people, ask them how they reached at the point that where they are today as well. And for example, today we are at this amazing platform with some amazing panelists like Rebecca and Joshua as well. They both are available on LinkedIn. I'm available on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out and we can share our journey with you in more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point about working in a big company, you're absolutely right. I mean, when I finished studying at uni, my first big job was at Deloitte, and it's where I am still. But I
Yeah,
remember being quite scared when I joined because a big company means a lot of people and it's quite intimidating. But really, all it
definitely.
meant was that there was a lot more people to learn from and to shadow and to kind of, yeah, it was incredible. So the big companies aren't scary at all. It's like what you said, it's just more people to learn from.
That's right.
Another question for you. As an international student, you had a pretty unique experience at QUT. What advice would you give to international or perhaps regional students making the move to Brisbane to study?
Again, an amazing question. Firstly, about international student, I would highly recommend them having a look at the scholarships QET has to offer. I was myself offered and enjoyed Triple Crown Scholarship, which is specifically for international student. So there are opportunities like that as well. Being an international student, I know that there are a lot of challenges, and one of the challenges budget. Uh, some of us have financial constraints, and I will not hide, I was one of them who had financial constraints as well. But having Triple Crown Scholarship, that really helped me make the move to QT. And then again, we have to maintain that with just a little bit of hard work as well. Talking about regional students, I'm 100% sure that there are scholarships that are supporting them to enjoy studying at QT as well. More like, I think it's very important to connect with the student services group, one of the departments that QET has to offer as well. I was very fortunate to be not just being connected with them, but I've worked with them during my project as well, final year project. Amazing people. They will guide you on scholarships, resume building, how to hunt for jobs, how to give interviews as well, how to dress up for that, how to manage your body language, and a lot of other questions as well. So I think take full benefit of all the services that QET has to offer. I found everyone really welcoming, and I'm pretty sure so will all the international and the regional students will as well.
Incredible. Well, thank you for all those insights. I might have one more question for you.
Why
What's
not?
what's next for your goals? What's next for your career? What are you hoping to do for the next little bit?
Well, just like Josh, I think you're going to have another competitor in ruling the world. But other than that, I think I really would like to uh, gain more experience in terms of software development life cycle, and from the role of business process management and analyst, I would really like to move on to the role of iteration manager or a project manager as well, and hone my skills in that area. Other than that, from personal space, I am in negotiations with a very dear friend of mine who is also an alumni from QUT, and we are in terms of negotiating the terms to create a company that will provide end-to-end software development services, full stack development services as well. So that is something that will be coming very soon, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about that in the future as well. On the finance side of things, that is one of my interests as well. I am into real estate. I have started investing in that about 3 years ago. So I will be increasing my portfolio to different areas other than Queensland as well. A
Incredible.
lot of things are happening.
Well, we look forward to hosting another webinar in a few years' time and getting the update on what you've been up to since then.
You're more
Thank
than
you for all the
welcome.
insights, Hassan. I'd love
My
to
pleasure.
invite Josh and Rebecca back to the virtual stage and join us in for a bit of a panel discussion. And we actually have some questions inspired by our Careers with Sam Facebook and Instagram audiences. So I'm going to go in the same order that we did the speaking in. So, question for you, Josh. How important is personal branding and networking for creating opportunities? And what's your advice on doing this?
Um, it's really important, especially in your career later on down the track. The more people you know, it's going to really help you when you're applying for jobs, things like that. I'll kind of give an example with me. A lot of the projects that I've built in the past have all been due to me knowing someone that has come up to me with a problem, a pain point, essentially. Um, and from that, then I've been able to, build a solution. And that's really, really valuable. Networking can give you the opportunity to also, well, it gives you the opportunity to get more opportunities, whether it is, speaking on panels such as this, for example, or just meeting interesting people that can mentor you and can give you advice that have been there before. Particularly as well, at least during my degree, is there's actually for me in my engineering unit, one of my first ones, you actually have to do a mandatory networking session. And for me, that was a real highlight because it's something that is going to be really important. One of the examples I like to give even is like, when you're applying for a job, if you know someone that works at that organization that can, help you along that recruitment process, things like that, even if they can get you ahead of a couple people, it can make such a difference. So yeah, definitely make sure you from day one look at networking, meet as many people as you can, because it's really important, and how you approach problems, things like that as well, will really set you out for getting yourself out there as well. Yeah.
There's a follow-up question for you too, Josh, coming from our webinar chat. What's your advice for a high school student that's curious about double degrees, and how do you find the perfect combination?
Yeah, oh, good question. For me, at least when I was in high school, which was not that long ago, when I was looking at double degrees, I was trying to decide between a vertical double degree in a Master of Robotics and AI with engineering, or one in IT and engineering. And I definitely think it comes down to where you want to go in your career. If you have a reasonably good idea on what you want to do, I'd highly recommend then having a look at double degrees that have 2 degrees that are reasonably similar, or they work really well together, because it will give you that greater skill set that's still in that specific field, which will make you more employable at the end of the day because you have that greater skill set. If you're not sure what you want to study and maybe there's two areas of interest, then maybe look at two things that are a little bit different if you want that. And then, later on, if you decide you're interested in one area, you can focus on that part of the degree instead. So definitely just consider what you're looking at for your future.
Absolutely. I think that was the reasoning for me when I chose my double degree of IT and design. I was saying to Rebecca earlier that when I was in high school, I couldn't pick between the two. And, school was kind of rushed me to hurry up and pick one. But luckily, I got to do the double degree of both. Question for
Yeah.
Rebecca. With what is something you would tell your 17-year-old self, considering everything you've now gone through the past little while?
Mm. I really the key learning for me over the past decade has been that I contain multitudes, that I have so many different facets, and just because one facet is there doesn't mean that I am not something else, if that makes sense. And at any time, you can decide that what is happening for you at the moment is not right, or not what you're looking for, not what you want. And you can decide to put in place changes that you can make within reason to change that trajectory. You can decide to be honest with yourself about whether you are living authentically and doing what you want to do. And at any time you're not obliged to keep doing what you've been doing if it's not working. You can make those changes. Yes, that's what I wish I had. Yeah, I wish someone had said that to me earlier so that I could have started considering it earlier, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think that would really alleviate a lot of pressure from the students that are watching the webinar, either live or in the recording, to know that, the
Mm.
decision they make at 17 years old does not have to be the final one. Maybe looking back on the career trajectory you've had, Rebecca, is there anything you might have done differently, a pivot that you might have changed, but sooner rather than later?
Look, I mean, despite what I've just said about, I guess wishing someone had said it earlier, I think it had to have happened this way, and I think that's okay, because I mean, the degree that I have just finished didn't really exist in its current form when I did my first bachelor's anyway, and I don't think I would have arrived at wanting to do this degree without the experience that I've had anyway, which just adds to the fact that what you decide to do after high school you're not locking yourself in. You're a complex person. Your life is going to be complex. More and more people make more career changes throughout their lives. And I mean, I was told that as a child. They said a lot of things like, "Oh, this generation will have like 5 different careers during their lifetime," or something like that. And increasingly, I think that is more and more the case. And I think that's good. I think things change, and that's good. And things happen the way that they do for because that's the way it should be, basically. I guess maybe not the way it should be, but uh, for me, I think it had to have been this way, and I regret nothing. And I think I'm very happy with where I am. Mm.
Incredible. All right, Hassan, question for you. Is AI changing your role or others that you work with? And how can students prepare for this?
Hot topic these days, isn't it?
Mm,
So AI is having a significant impact on my role and others in the field as well. In business process analysis, management, AI is transforming how we gather insights, identify patterns, and implement solutions as well. For instance, AI-driven data analysis tools can quickly uncover, let's say, uh, trends in massive data sets, which help in making faster, more informative decisions. And we are seeing AI enhanced automation in a lot of other tools as well, enabling smarter workflows that can adapt based on past data, let's say. Um, in my experience, I think AI isn't replacing roles, but rather evolving them. It's allowing us to shift from, let's say, repetitive tasks towards more strategic value-added work, which is deeper problem analysis and decision making. For example, let's say instead of manually tracking data patterns, we can use AI to spot that for us, enabling us to act more proactively. Uh, for students, I would say preparing for AI enhanced career means developing both technical and analytical skills as well. You'll see me focus a lot on analytical skills other than technical knowledge as well. I would recommend a strong focus on data literacy, how to interpret data generated by AI, especially for data decision making. I believe courses in AI, machine learning, and data sciences are invaluable, and as well as hands-on experience with automation tools will definitely help them. I think it is very important, as I mentioned previously, to build soft skills like solving skills and adaptability, as AI is often handled. AI will often handle, I would say, the what part of things, but why and how, I think it's still in human hands. But
Yeah.
keep an my strong suggestion to students would be to keep an eye on the trends in the industry. Stay curious. AI is definitely continuously evolving, and those who are proactive about learning new tools and methodologies will be prepared to thrive in AI-driven environment.
Incredible. I've got one final question for the three of you, and we might answer this in the same order as the speakers. What is the best piece of advice you've been given when it comes to pursuing a career in tech or in STEM? And what are you most excited for the future of technology? Josh, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, definitely just going for it. That's definitely something that's been really valuable for me. Like the IT, or particularly the IT industry, is changing constantly. Just similar to Hassan's point about AI. AI has just come around the corner. Before you know it, we're gonna have quantum computing. It's forever changing, which makes it an amazing industry to be in. Yeah, and just being able to be a part of it is amazing. So yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're right.
Um, I guess a piece of advice that's really helped me in in thinking about I guess my new direction in a STEM in the STEM field has been to honestly, there's so much. This is going to sound a little bit naff, but there's so much value in making sure that you write everything down. There's so much value in making sure that you there's some sort of record of what you are learning and what you what you're experiencing. I'm not necessarily saying like you should keep it like this crazy journal every day, but make a note of things because I found it really important being able to look back and see how I pulled something off before. Because often I think in tech you encounter similar problems in different ways sort of over and over again. And it really helps to have a record of how you tackled it before. So yeah, like just a little bit of a practical thing, but yeah.
Awesome. So from my side, I would say embrace continuous learning and adaptability as technology is ever evolving, and success in this field requires both technical skills and proactive solving mindset as well. Apart from all these technical things that I've talked about and mentioned, I would just recommend my lovely audience, to be generous. Be generous in sharing knowledge, be generous in maybe sharing food, sharing good times, sharing a laugh, sharing a smile. And let's try to make an impact by becoming a better version of ourselves.
Incredible. Well, thank you to all three of you for the incredible insights that you provided in today's webinar. We look forward to seeing where you go from here on out. So if you've been inspired after hearing from Josh, Rebecca, or Hassan, make sure you check out more stories of Tech Plus X careers in the latest issue of Careers with STEM Technology. If you'd like to keep up to date with all the Careers with STEM news, visit careerswithstem.com.au to sign up and subscribe to our newsletters. You can also search careers and peoples by your favorite X, like animals, business, creativity, crime and justice, and much, much more. We also have more on our STEM Plus X webinars on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/careers with STEM. Make sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of our webinars. There are plenty more to come. And that brings us to a wrap for today. Thank you once again to our panelists for giving us your time today. It was great to hear all of your stories. Thanks again to our sponsor, QUT. And thanks so much to all of you for attending our webinar today. We wish you all the best with your STEM Plus X career.